guys, this is Shivangi. Welcome back to our channel. Today's video is all about Huda Beauty's Naughty Nude palette. This palette was recently launched on Nykaa and they were gracious enough to actually send it to me. This is not a sponsored video. I'm going to give you my unbiased review on this palette. I'm just letting you know that it was gifted to me and I did not actually buy it. So I'm just maintaining a bit of transparency here. I'll show you all the swatches of the palette. I'm also going to show you a tutorial on this eye makeup look, which I created with this palette, and I'll also tell you about the pros and cons of this palette. Also, the links and details of some of the products which I will use in today's video, I'm going to leave them in the description box below, so do check it out. Now, without further ado, let's begin with the swatches of this palette. For these swatches, I'm going to go row-wise. This is going to be the first row, the second row, and then the third row. I've taken all these swatches in daylight so that you can see their true colors. Now let's have a look at them. Now I know I'm starting off with a negative point which I found in this palette right off the bat as soon as I swatched it, but I'll just be honest with you. So this jelly-like shade, right, there was a bit of hype around it. It was something really different, never seen in any palette before kind of a thing, and I was quite excited about it. But when I swatched it, I was quite disappointed because firstly, this does not swatch well. Secondly, it's a really sheer shade and it hardly has any pigmentation. There are some metallic balls in the shade which crush as soon as you touch them and rub your fingers in it. Not the most hygienic thing either. Sounded like a good idea in theory, but practically it did not really work. Now before I show you this eye makeup look, I'm actually going to show you how you can use this jelly-like shade. It is extremely sheer and of course it is gel-like, so it's very difficult to use it with base makeup on. If you've got any eyeshadow base or something on, then you can't really use it. You can only use it on no makeup days when you're not using any kind of foundation or concealer and you just want a little bit of tint on your eyelid. I know there are a few extra things in this video, but I wanted to cover everything and hopefully by the end of this video you will be able to make up your mind if you should get this palette or not. Now let's begin with the bare-faced tutorial of this particular shade. There's not much there. So right now I don't have any makeup on. Now with my ring finger, I'm going to take a bit of this color. This is how it looks like. It's really sheer, guys, okay? Like, don't expect like solid pigmentation out of it. It's a very sheer color. Now you take it on your ring finger and straight up start applying it on your eyelid. That's it. You can see that it has given just a hint of color to my eyelid. Personally, I'm not the biggest fan of this color, but it is okay. If you do plan to get this palette, then this is how you can make use of it. Now that this is done, I'm going to put my base makeup on and then we'll begin the eye makeup tutorial. I'm done with my base and now we'll start the eyeshadow tutorial, of course. So first, I am going to take this color. It is called Rough from the palette and I'm going to apply it all over my crease. So this color does look like a cool brown color on the palette, but as I applied it on my crease, you can see it's more of a pink toned color. So yeah, it does look different when you actually apply it on your eyelid. Next, I'm going to apply this shade called Spicy from the palette, and I'll apply it on the outer corner of my eyelid. This shade and this shade are very similar. So what I'm going to do is, first I'll apply this shade, and then right next to it, I'll apply this shade to see how similar they look. First, I'm going to take this one, Spicy. Just placing it on the outer corner of my eyelid, very lightly. Now I'm going to build this color a little bit. Now let's get to this shade, Untamed, and I'll start placing it right next to Spicy. There is a minute difference. Untamed is slightly lighter than Spicy, but I don't think so there is any difference in color. They are the same color. Untamed is just one shade lighter. Now I'm going back to Spicy, which is the darker shade, and I'll just build it up a little more on the outer corner. After placing this color, I'm going to take this shade from the palette. It's called Juicy, and I'm going to run it through lightly on my crease. I'm not going to build this color much. I only wanted to apply a hint of it to blend everything together well. For this particular look, I thought maybe let's just do a cut crease because I haven't done it in a while. I know cut creases are complicated and they're not the easiest. I also find them a bit difficult, but let's just do it. First, I'm going to take a concealer. I'm taking Too Faced Born This Way concealer in the shade Golden Beige. You can really use any concealer, guys. Just don't use a foundation. Use a good high coverage concealer. So I'm going to take a bit of concealer at the back of my hand, and then with a flat concealer brush, I'm going to take a bit of it on the brush, place it right in the center of my eyelid, just one dot, and then do this. So you see this dot that you got here on top of your eyelid, that is your reference point. This is where the edge of your cut crease should end. It shouldn't go beyond this. Now let's cut the crease and hope for the best. This is the best that I could do right now. The first shimmery shade which I'm going to take is this golden shade from the palette, and for some reason it's called Tantric. First, I'm going to try applying this color with a dry brush. If that doesn't work, then we'll use a wet brush. It is looking okay, but it is not applying very evenly. So I'm going to wet my brush with a setting spray. I'm using NYX Matte Finish Setting Spray. Now I've taken the shade on a wet brush. Now let's apply this. Oh, this is so much better. Actually, the deal with a lot of these Huda Beauty shimmery shades is that you either use your fingers to apply them, or you use like a wet brush, like wet your brush with a setting spray and then use them. If you try to use them with a dry brush, they don't spread out all that evenly because a lot of them are quite flaky. The next shade which I'm going to pick from the palette is this shade called Irresistible, and I'll apply it next to the golden shade. Again, I'm going to use a wet brush to apply this shade. Next, I'm going to take this shade from the palette. It is called Please Me, and this I'm going to apply on the rest of my eyelid. I'm really tempted to do something. I'm going to take another shimmery shade, maybe this one. It's called Shameless. I'll be shameless and do this thing. So I'm going to take a bit of this on my finger and place it right on the center. Let's see how it looks. Oh wow, this is actually a very pretty color. I'm just blending it a little bit on my eyelid. This is a very pretty color, guys, and it is holographic. It's got like a shift of peach and pink. It's quite nice. I love this color. I think I'm going to stop right here. I'm pretty happy with how this is looking. I just need to clean up this look now. To do that, I'm going to dig into the shade called Spicy, the one that we applied on the outer corner of the eyelid, and again apply it on the outer corner, blending it with the shimmery shade. Next, I'm going to take a small angular brush. I'm going to dip it into this shade called Untamed. And with this, I'm going to clean up my cut crease. Now we'll get to the lower lash line. I'm not going to do much there. I'm just going to pick up the shade called Spicy, the darkermost shade. And with an angular brush, I'm going to apply it on my lower lash line halfway through. Next, I'm going to take this shade. It's called Flower Power. And this I will apply in the innermost corner of my eyes. Like, I usually use a highlighter there, but I just thought, let me just use a color from the palette. Not sure how much you can see, but I do have a tiny bit of fallout on my under eyes and on my cheeks. Also, the shimmery shade, guys, I would like to tell you that all the shimmery shades except this one, this shade called Desire, it is better that you use like a tacky base before you apply them on, because there are very tiny glitter flecks which do fall off on your skin if you don't use anything to stick them. Like right now, I did apply this whitish shade to highlight the inner corner of my eye, and I've got like a lot of very tiny glitter particles all over here. So you definitely need some sort of base to stick these shades, otherwise a lot of glitter will fall on your face. The shades are super pretty, but that is one major drawback that you have to consider. I'm going to quickly go finish off this side of my eye and then come back. Alright guys, so my eye makeup is complete. This is how it's looking like. I've also put on some false lashes. I'm going to leave the details of the false lashes in the description box below. Now I'm going to finish up this look and then give you my final thoughts on Huda Beauty Naughty Nude palette. For blush, I'll use Sugar's Contour palette in the shade Subtle Summit. I'll use this shade as the blush, and I'll also use the highlighter from this palette itself. Now I'll start using the highlighter. I'm first going to apply it on my brow bone. And now I'll apply it on all the high points of my face. For lip color, I'll use Charlotte Tilbury's Walk of No Shame. I'm going to top my lip color up with Too Faced Sunset Crush Lip Gloss. Lastly, to set everything in place, I'll use Smashbox Primer Water. Alright, so this is the final look, guys. I really hope that you enjoyed watching this tutorial. Now, coming to the Naughty Nude palette, I would say that if you do have Huda Beauty's new nude palette, then you don't really need this one. Even though the color scheme does look different, but still they are pretty similar. I can create the same look with the new nude palette as well. And the only difference, I think there's just two shades which are extremely different in this palette. One is this blue toned holographic shade, and one is of course this jelly light shade. One more thing that you have to keep in mind is that even though it looks like it, but this is not a brown toned palette. A lot of the shades which do look brown on the pan end up being more pink toned as soon as you apply them on your eyelid. Otherwise, the quality, the pigmentation, the blendability, everything is amazing. The mattes are buttery soft, they blend really well, there is minimal fallout. With shimmers, you have to keep in mind that you keep your base tacky, otherwise they'll fall on your face. If you're confused between the new nude palette and this palette, then in my personal opinion, you should go for this one, because even though this jelly-like color is something which you may not use all that often, you'll still use it. In New Nude palette, you get a concealer here, which I've barely touched. It's not even the best concealer, honestly. So yeah, out of the two palettes, I would choose this one. Rest is totally your call. And that's it, guys. With that, we've come to an end of this video. I really hope that you enjoyed watching it. If you haven't subscribed to our channels already, then please consider subscribing to our channels. We've got two channels. There's this channel where I post beauty content, and we've got another channel where we post daily vlogs. And also, maybe you can consider following me on Instagram as well. I post some beauty related content and video updates on my Instagram handle. I'm going to leave all the links in the pinned comment of the comment section below. Definitely check it out. If you do like what you see, then consider subscribing and following. On that note, I'm going to sign off for now. I'll see you in the next one. Take care of yourself and stay safe. Bye-bye. Mwah.